back to my channel. So this is going to be makeup and hair. Get ready with me as I discuss one of the stories that I have to tell when I was working 9-to-5 jobs. Now this was recent, and actually it wasn't even a 9-to-5 job. It was a contractor position. And so yeah, it was a contracting position, and let's just say I did not last long working there. And that's because I saw right through everything that was going on at the job, and I just saw right through the job itself, and I just saw myself not being my purpose, in life, is to be at that particular job, and what I was doing there was wasting my time, and going backwards. So yeah, so I was in a moment of desperation and wanting to be in a position where I could just get out the house and make this money real quick so I could move up or move out. And that's what I've been wanting to do. Just, find somewhere that I really genuinely like and not have to settle this time around. And so I wanted to expedite the process by getting a regular job. So that's what I did. I started to look up places and places to work, and I started applying. And mostly like driving jobs, independent jobs and things like that, because that's just the type of job I prefer doing. I don't want to sit in one spot. I don't want to really do the same thing over and over again, and I don't really want to necessarily deal with certain types of customers and just the redundance of it. And I've worked a lot of those types of jobs in the past where I worked with, all kind of different people and customers and things like that. And I wanted to do something different this time around. So I ended up picking a contractor job that, it was an independent contractor job, driving and delivering auto parts. And so I thought this would be good for me, and then I figured out quickly that it wasn't. There was a few things wrong with this position, and as far as why I didn't fit in. Okay, the first thing is that I really just got the sense that I'm just not wanted at that place, and my presence just wasn't like welcome at all. And this is not really an issue because everywhere you go, you're not going to be liked or loved or appreciated or valued or anything like that. But as long as you are valuing yourself. But for a person like me, I've been broken down so many times, and I just I know what I bring to the table. So if other people are not appreciating that, then I can see my way out. And so the reason why I said that I felt like I wasn't being appreciated is because the way that the manager would look at me when I came in, and the stuff he would say my second day I came in, he was like, "Oh, you came back," like as if he was completely shocked that I showed back up to the job. And I'm like, why wouldn't I come back? I work here. And so the third time that I came to work, he completely just pretended like he didn't even ever see me, and that's fine too, because I really don't like to deal with people like that anyway. But the manager is just he was clearly ignoring me and pretending like I didn't exist and giving me the evil eye. And I'm like, okay, well, that was kind of weird. That was by the third day I was getting the evil eye. Okay, but that's not even the main reason why I left. That's the first reason. The second reason is because the pay wasn't adding up. By being an independent contractor position, of course, you have to take out your own taxes. And by being a driver position, I have to pay for my own gas. I'm using my own vehicle. So that stuff added up quickly. I'm doing the calculations, and I'm like, I'm going to end up on the side of me having to owe a lot of money at the end of this job, at the end of this contract, because the numbers are just not adding up. I'm paying for gas, and I have to deduct my taxes, and plus putting wear and tear on my car that I won't be reimbursed for, and it just didn't no longer make sense. And so I figured that out by the third day as well, that this job is not going to financially make sense for me. I'm going to be in the hole if I work here. So that was the third red flag and third strike for me. The second red flag. Now the third one was really the icing on the cake, and this would really kind of like made me say I'm good. It was an encounter with one of the co-workers. Now, he wasn't a contractor. He was actually an employer or employee that worked for the employer, I'm assuming. And I don't know how long he's been there. I don't know him. I don't care to know him. All I know is he's an ignorant individual. And those type of people is the reason why I don't like the traditional jobs. Because this is the type of stuff I always deal with. So what happened this particular time is, unfortunately, I'm gonna throw race in there this time, and not because everything is about race and this and that, but that's just to describe this story, because it won't even make sense unless I put the race in it. So me, of course, I'm black. I am, I've been here. My family has been here for generations. I consider myself American. You could call me brown American, whatever you want to call it, black American, fine. So I'm black, and there's another co-worker who's also an employer. He wasn't a contractor. He was also black. Now, me and this black guy, he was nice, and he was they put him on the job of training me. So that was ironic. They chose a black person to train another black person. Okay, fine. That's fine, because he was a nice person anyway. So that worked well. So in this scenario, back to the story. In this scenario, it was me, a black guy, and the white guy who I had the issue with, and a white lady who was the dispatcher, who was the one that was giving us the parts to go out and deliver. So we all four were standing in a circle, like waiting on the computer to load so that the lady can start to give us orders so that we can start making our deliveries for the day. So I'm guessing that everybody was, those three people were kind of like having small talk, and I was just standing there kind of waiting to get my work and waiting to get my order for the day. So I really wasn't saying anything. I was just standing there. And next thing you know, the white guy says out loud to all three of us that the white lady is running the job like a slave owner. Yeah. So that's what he said. And the black guy kind of chuckled, and the white guy thought it was so funny. Then the next thing you know, he was talking to the black guy. He said, if you don't let her get her lunch quick enough, she'll cut a digit off. Again, another racist comment that completely threw me for a loop. And I didn't say anything. The black guy, he kind of chuckled a little bit. I guess seemed like he was just used to that type of thing. And the white lady, she looked visibly uncomfortable with what he was saying. And I didn't say anything. I was just shocked. I'm like, I'm not used to people talking like that just openly. And like, I feel like I went back 15 years of my life and having to not have any control over what other people say. But when you're an adult, you still don't have control over what other people say, but you have control over if that's the type of environment you want to be in or not. So once he said that, that was the second day that I was working there. I was only there for 3 days. And once he said that, I was just pretty much like, I'm done. I don't want to hear anything else you have to say, because you completely violated all three of us as people who worked there. Like, you didn't have any type of consideration for how that would make us feel. But I'm thinking he said it on purpose, because that's just what type of rhetoric he's used to spewing out, and it being okay, and no one ever coming to check him on whether or not that's the right or appropriate thing to say. Okay. So the moral of the story is go where you are respected. There are plenty of positions out there that will not treat you any kind of way and welcome your presence when you're a hard worker. And at that job, I just wasn't getting it. I felt like I never was going to get respected there. It was just going to get worse. It was just going to be more. And I was like, let me get out the way before, before they end up firing me anyway, because I'm going to end up having to say something back. And whatever I say back is probably going to end up getting me fired. Because what's the other response that you get when someone's making slave jokes? Like, it's nothing funny about enslaving my ancestors or enslaving the people I would have called my loved ones. It's nothing funny about that. It's nothing that should be joking, that you should joke about regarding that type of situation. So, with that being said, that's all I wanted to talk about as far as that topic. A traditional job will never work for me. I have to work for myself or partner up with someone and we can make money together. That's the way that I earn a living, and that's the way that I think that is conducive to me and my well-being, instead of going in the backward spiral, just letting people talk to me kind of way, letting people make those types of jokes and I just sit back and just laugh along with it or pretend like I didn't hear them or let it go. Or it's nothing I can let go with that. It's something that I'm going to remember forever, and it's a reminder that that's what goes on at these types of jobs. And if I want to work, then that's just what I have to accept. I have to accept that you might have to deal with some racism, you might have to deal with some sexism, you might have to deal with some ageism. It's all these types of things that have to go with it. And that's just how the world works. And I'm not ever saying that I'm not a worker. I'm always working. I'm always doing something for my life. But the difference is I just won't tolerate just any old type of behavior from a place that I would have called my job or my employer. I'm not going to tolerate that. So that's the moral of the story. That's all I wanted to say.